So for the past month, I have been struggling to get around our indoor off-road buggy track. Who would have thought that the exact same features that I use in my no prep drag cars would actually help me get around that track easier? What's going on, guys? It's Chad. Welcome back to the Dorky and 40 RC channel. Tomorrow is our very first official points race of the winter season. I expect to get 0 points tomorrow, maybe 1 for participation. And that's just because I literally have made 40 laps around this track, maybe 60 now, as compared to these other people that have made tens and tens of thousands of laps. But anyway, I'm still going to do it and have some fun, bring you guys along for the journey and kind of give you some tips and tricks on what is going on. So we've got the race coming up tomorrow. We've got the car here on the bench, and this thing does not look too bad. You can see that my wheels are a little scuffed up and stuff, and surprisingly, nothing is broke on this car yet, even after some incidences like this. So I guess my whole point of this series is to stay connected with you guys, but to also just kind of pass along information, because one of the most important things I learned this year to get better at drag was just to learn about RC cars in general, the setup, how things work, tuning, all that kind of stuff. Now, a lot of that stuff is going to translate over here on this buggy aspect stuff, and I've learned a lot already, and I have a lot to go. We'll go through some of the racing laps here, just show you a little bit of things that have gone on, and we'll put up some of the things that I've done as far as the improvements I made last week. The biggest improvement I made was I'm running the Hobbywing XR10 Pro in here, which we know is an awesome ESC. It's actually the same ESC that Frank Olberg runs in his no prep drag car. The Hobbywing app and the things that you can change are just amazing. There's so many features in there. It's almost too much, especially when you're just trying out something like this right here. I'd spent a lot of time tweaking little settings, this and that. Most important setting that I found to get me around the track is using drag brake. Believe it or not, using the actual brake on a radio when you're not used to using it, because all I have done all year long is just pull the trigger and just basically tap on the brakes at the end, just like many of you. So there's things that you actually can do. So I switched out the Sanwa trigger insert in here to kind of make it a little bit easier to go back and forth between brake and acceleration. The best guys and the fastest guys use brake, even though we still have a really tight course here. It's really small compared to some of the larger indoor tracks that you will see. I don't want to develop bad habits from the start, so I want to learn how to use the brake. So I think I'm going to try this out tomorrow and see how it goes and see if I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. The other thing I did was I put on the larger wheel inside the Sanwa box. There's 2 wheels. This one's not a whole lot larger. It's maybe a couple millimeters, but we'll see how that works when it comes to steering, because just learning and watching the depth perception of your car and trying to figure out how to steer. You know, I played around a lot with like Expo and stuff like that. Still had issues getting around the track. The number one thing that I actually did though was I put everything back to defaults in the ESC, quit messing around with that, and I actually just turned down the dual rate on the radio from 100 to 65. So basically, I'm just going slower around the track now in a more consistent fashion. And I don't have to mess around with hooking up to the ESC, changing all these different settings that I really don't know what are doing to the car yet, because I am not familiar enough with what changes due to this car yet. I'm still in that I need to get around the track mode. So the goal is to just increase that dual rate time after time after time, and then we can start doing some of that stuff. I've also got some tires here that were recommended to me to glue up and get that ready to go. I've been going with pre-glue tires just because, well, they're just easier to deal with. We all know that. And what I got now is some of the Prolines here. These are the Prism 2.2s, and these are the Velocity front wheels. So we're going to glue those up here today, not on the video. And I'm getting everything charged up and all that kind of stuff, and we'll be ready to go. It's the one thing about this indoor buggy stuff is there's really not a whole lot to do when you get home, and I can only race every 2 weeks. So it's not like I can go and practice every day. I could probably get some like street tires or something for this and put some cones out there and do some laps and just kind of learn how to actually run the car. Probably would benefit me some, but yeah, daylight savings time now, just do not have the time to do that. So anyway, let's take a look and I'll show you the improvements that I made last week. And then we'll see you here in another week or two on another video about buggies, about what kind of improvements I actually made this week. Keep in mind, we do change our track layout from time to time, but it's all pretty much time specific. So the fastest guys are getting around like those 14 to 15 second laps. Yours truly is a little bit higher. So let's take a look at it. So in case you couldn't guess, that was me in that white car just kind of wrecking havoc and doing all kinds of stuff. It's a lot harder than you ever are going to think. So round one, we basically, my fastest lap was a 19:140. The top 5 laps, a 20:66.88, and the top 10 was a 7:49. I think I only ended up getting 13 laps. So not very good. And we'll play just another clip from the second round here where I was doing some more ESC changes and there wasn't a whole lot of difference. Yep, not much reason to keep on playing that now, is there? Let's move on to the last round. This is where I actually took the dual rate down to 65 from 100 just on throttle. I'm sure I've got some steering stuff in there too. I think I have my expo at like -5 and put the ESC stuff all back to generally where it should have been from the start, and things got a lot better. All right, so things got definitely a lot better here making that dual rate change. You can still see that I'm a little bit out of control here, but I've managed to put together some pretty good clean runs. I wasn't overrunning stuff as fast as I should. Still having problems there with that wall. It's just weird to do something like that. Hit the ice there a couple times, but you can see I'm generally moving a little bit faster, but you know, I'm not hitting race lines. I definitely have to work on just quit steering the car so much and just kind of pointing it and letting the car go where it needs to, because it will. It definitely will. The car drives super good and super smooth, but just, you know, a lot of just bad mistakes, just learning how to drive the car. I'm not freaking out about this at all. It's just entertaining. I love watching it. It's hilarious. But, you know, it really feels good. There was a point during this B main I qualified last for, because there wasn't any more people to qualify, that, you know, I was doing pretty good just getting around the track, trying to stay out of people's way. That's a big thing in this buggy racing, because everybody takes this stuff super serious. So when you actually could hit people and ruin their day and ruin their lap times and everything else, people can get pretty aggravated at you. It's kind of funny. There's no money involved here or nothing like that. It's not like we're racing for glory here, but anyway, you can see here I've made it around like a complete lap or so, done pretty good. And let's take a look now at the final results. So here's the best part, guys. Check it out. B main, my fastest lap went down to a 17.28, top 5 laps 18.186, so on and so forth. And I actually even got to count to 15 this time, because I actually made 15 laps. Yay me. So made a bunch of improvement there. Super happy about that. So that's going to be my goal tomorrow, is to try to just keep on improving, getting those lap times down, working on the car, trying to feel it out a little bit more. I want to get there when the doors open and start practicing right away. And that is about it. I really don't know what else I could do than other to try to entertain you on all of this adventure. I don't expect to see the progress that I made in No Prep Drag in the next 3 or 4 months, but I would like to get, you know, competitive in the B main or have a shot to the A main. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we get more racers showing up and all that kind of stuff. So there'll be more, you know, people to challenge, or more people for me to take out or avoid. So that's it, guys. I appreciate all of you. Thanks a lot. And I hope you were entertained by my fantastic driving. Peace.